We be live. Hi, everyone. Make sure you like the stream. We are going to be responding to Tucker Carlson's nonsense against Israel because he is now one of the main people that is spreading a lot of poison, a lot of misinformation, a lot of horrible takes. And you guys told me when I first responded to Candace Owens's nonsense against Israel, you guys told me in the live chat that I need to go after Tucker Carlson, and you ask and I shall deliver. And here he is. Let me actually put his first video. I have a lot of, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to go through all of them. I'll try. Let me see who's in the chat, guys. By the way, thank you guys for being here in the chat. Make sure you like the stream. Right in the chat, if you have liked the stream, Amir is here helping me with the live chat. Thank you so much, Amir, for being here. I'll also be reading super chats throughout the show, between the videos as I go through. And I need you guys in the live chat to also be active and give me your responses to what Tucker is saying here. So I'll go over my responses. I'll check some of your responses. This is a group project. We're doing this together. Anyway, thank you, Amir, for being here, and thank you for helping, and thank you everybody in the chat that is liking and also confirming the chat. Hi, DD. I also see D in the chat. Thank you, guys, and also the other admins. I'll respond to the chat soon. But let's actually first listen to the first video. And I'm not going to pause. We're just going to listen to it together. You guys give me your responses in the chat. I'm going to try to pay attention to the live chat as well. So let's listen to this first one.
Israel cannot exist without being propped up by the United States.
You think so?
Its nuclear program came from the United States. Its weapons come from the United States. Its economy is supported by the United States. I'm not attacking Israel. I'm just saying in point of fact, I think that's true. And I mean, Israel thinks it's true, or they wouldn't have armies of lobbyists and influencers in the United States. Bibi wouldn't have shown up twice in the past 3 months.
Any country, if there is any country out there that fundamentally cannot exist without being subsidized by American taxpayers, then not only should that country not exist, but that country already does not exist. It's not really.
That's interesting.
It's not really a country,
right? No, it's
very interesting. It's very interesting and sounds very wise. Sounds such a great take. If you have an IQ of a cockroach, if you don't have two neurons connecting with each other, if you don't think about it for half a second, sounds like, oh yeah, that's very wise. Okay, but let's actually listen to it from the beginning. And yeah, Amir saying in the chat, saying, ouch. Yeah, so guys, apparently Israelis in the chat, you guys don't deserve to even be a country. You shouldn't even exist. Apparently, according to these conservatives over here, if you are so reliant on the United States. What do you guys think about that? What do you guys think? How do you guys respond to that? Let me actually respond to it for you. Let's go line by line, okay? Let's go from the beginning. Let's go through
Israel cannot exist without being propped up by the United States.
By the way, let me actually clarify. Is it true that Israel cannot exist without the United States? Is it true? Because here's the wrong defense. And I know, but by the way, guys, I'm going to probably disagree with a lot of you guys in the chat. And this is like some people, I have a lot of fans from Israel, but what I like about our chat is that even if we disagree here, we are, we're big boys and girls. We can handle our disagreements. And here's going to be, some people from Israel are going to disagree with me. Okay. Is it true that Israel cannot survive without the United States? It is true. It is true. And I know a lot of you disagree with me on that in the chat. But here's the thing. That's true for every freaking country on the planet. In fact, let me tell you something else. That is interesting. United States cannot survive without other countries. United States also is reliant for its existence, not just its survival, but its existence to other country. This is the international order that we're living in. Every country is reliant on other country. That's how everything works. That's how our modern economic works. We're all intertwined. We're all relying on each other. The whole world would collapse without the existence of other countries. We're not islands. We're not self-reliant islands that we could do everything on ourselves. So let's go through this line by line. And also, by the way, it's true that when it comes to reliance, the removal of United States from the planet would be have a more devastating effect on every other country than if you swap United States from any, for example, if I remove Kenya, the world might not notice. I mean, they will notice, but it will not affect the world that much. But all of a sudden, if you wake up tomorrow and there's no United States anymore, and its entire economy, its entire people, all the trade and technology and science and its culture and everything is just removed, and we all wake up tomorrow and there's no United States, it's not just that Israel would collapse. United States economy is so big and so connected to the rest of the world that every country will collapse. The economy of every country, the foundations of every country will collapse. So these people talking like, oh, if your country cannot exist without the United States, then you don't deserve to be a country. Well, then by that definition, the only country that deserves to exist is the United States. The only country that is a country is the United States, based on this definition. And if you guys disagree with me, you don't understand how the modern global economy works. But let's listen to these. Again, this is the double standard with Israel. Oh, Israel is so reliant on United States. Oh yeah. So what about Canada? What about Mexico? What about Japan? What about China? Do you think China would survive if there was no United States? Okay, so let's make it so. Let's say that Israel doesn't deserve to be a country because it needs United States. Okay, then Canada doesn't deserve to be a country. Mexico doesn't deserve to be a country. Almost no country deserves to be a country. Egypt, exactly, Jerry Samantha. Pakistan. Every country. Do you see the double standard? Do you see the double standard here? Oh yeah, Nelvan is saying North Korea is the only state that has the right to exist based on that logic. Yeah, not even, but yeah, maybe close. That's good. That's a good point. Anyways, let's continue. See the double standard people have for Israel? Do they even think for half a second? People are like, oh yeah, you're right. If there was no United States, Israel would collapse. So if you cannot be a country without the support of another country, do you deserve to be a country? People are like, oh, wow, that's so wise. Canada. You just have to say Canada. And we're like, Canada. I just have to say one word and your entire point will collapse. I say this as a Canadian, by the way. Watch this.
Israel cannot exist without being propped up by the United States.
You think so?
Its nuclear program came from the United States. Its weapons come from the United States. Its economy is supported by the United States. I'm not attacking Israel. I'm just saying in point of fact.
Okay, but by the way, based on this argument, United States doesn't deserve to be a country because the United States is a country because France supported it at some point. Its constitution comes from France. Its values and constitution, everything that made United States a great country, and let alone a great country, at all, comes from France and the UK. If it wasn't because of the ideas that came from France and the UK, and if it wasn't because of the support of the French of the revolution in United States would not be a country right now. So you're like, oh, Israel's nuclear program came from United States, so that's why they don't get to be a country with that because they rely on United States. Well, then United States doesn't get to be a country because it's the entire foundation of your country and came from two countries, came from UK and France, and its existence, the entire success of the revolution that created your country as a whole came from France. So United States doesn't get to be a country based on this argument because if it wasn't for France, US wouldn't be a country. Guys, this isn't hard. Either these people are idiots, because I don't know. I don't think I'm a genius. I don't know if I'm a genius. It didn't take, it was easy to respond to this. Either these people are idiots or they're just lying to you. I don't know. Maybe that's a false dichotomy. I don't know. Yeah, exactly. Jack is saying, does he think only major powers are legitimate countries? Exactly. Good point.
I think that's true.
I mean, major powers, but here's the thing, Jack. It's not like major powers rely on other countries. Major powers, United States. I mean, even with the tariffs, you're noticing how much United States relies on other countries. United States would, if you manage to close all trade, I'm not talking about tariff, and all connections and all of U.S. allies stop their support for United States, the United States will go from being a superpower to not a superpower within less than a decade, and eventually to lack of existence as a whole. It will become the next North Korea. It wouldn't survive. United States cannot survive without the existence of other countries and its allies. So that's just
Point of fact, I think that's true. And I mean, Israel thinks it's true, or they wouldn't have armies of lobbyists and influencers in the United States. Bibi wouldn't have shown up twice in the past 3 months.
Any country, if there is any country out there that fundamentally cannot exist without being subsidized by American taxpayers, then not only should that country not exist, but that country already does not exist. It's not really.
That's interesting.
It's not.
that country does, guys. Israel apparently doesn't exist. I mean, these are conservatives. Guys, do you see Israelis when I tell you that you cannot rely on America? It's not just the Democrat. People are like, the Democrats. I mean, yeah, I get you. The woke left and the progressives are kind of insane. However, the other side has its own problems. This is why, and here's the solution. A lot of people in Israel might think like, okay, then we need to be self-reliant. There's no such thing as self-reliance. There is no such thing as self-reliance. The response to the lack of reliability of United States, because you don't know which direction United States, you cannot give up on United States right now, because Israel is right now really needs U.S. support. Okay, but a long-term plan. What is the long-term plan that Israel, I think, should have? Is not to be an isolationist. I mean, like, okay, let's just become strong by ourselves. There is no such thing as being strong just by yourself. There is no such thing. Every country that becomes a great country, every country that becomes a strong country is because of its allies. The response to America, both the right America and left America, being not reliable allies, the response to that should be to put your eggs in more baskets. That means you need more allies. That doesn't mean that you should be self-reliant and isolationist. That means that you should actually go around and make more friends. That means that you shouldn't put all your eggs in the U.S. basket. That's what it means.
Really a country.
Right? No, it's...
By the way, guys, every time you see that subscribe button on this channel, that's a reminder to subscribe on our channel. This channel is doing really good. The responses I have to these idiots, I don't see other places doing it the way I'm doing it. Okay, the way I am responding to this BS. So reward me with your likes and subscribes, because we're gonna have a lot more of this. We got a super chat, so let me actually respond to that. Thank you for the super chat. The Brandolorian. The Brandolorian, that's interesting. Saying the main difference is Americans are suffering because America is empire speaking as an American. I mean, America is not an empire. It's a superpower. It's a major country with the biggest economy, but it doesn't meet the definition of an empire unless you're using empire metaphorically as just meaning that it's very big and very powerful and has a giant economy. But it doesn't meet the definition. There is no empires. We have the age of empires are over. We have 0 empires. I mean, we might have Russia trying to bring back the age of empires, right? Putin maybe is trying to do that. But other than that, there is no empire, right? Americans are suffering because Americans are suffering. Americans are enjoying better lifestyle. I mean, the only reason why Americans are suffering is because they're comparing their lifestyle to what just came before them just a few decades ago. But so in relative to what was before, because people suffer when they experience their conditions to what they had before. But relative to the rest of the world, Americans have the best lifestyle on average. You know, even people in America who are considered poor have, relative to the rest of the planet, have better lifestyles. So, but people do get frustrated when they compare what they are having right now just to what just came a few decades before. But if they compare what they have right now, compare it to what they had like maybe 100 years ago instead of 20 or 30 years ago, they're still better off. Anyways, thank you for the super chat. Let's continue with the next video. I have a lot. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to go through all of them. Let's listen to all of this. That was a very effective takedown of that first video's nonsense. Okay, it was so easy. I mean, sometimes I want to congratulate myself for how effective I respond to them, but at the same time, I'm like, this is too easy. Make it more difficult, make it more challenging. Let's see if this second one is more challenging. Okay, so let's listen to the second one. And guys, again, like this video if you like my responses, and if you don't like my responses, leave a comment, tell me why. Okay, let's continue.
You cannot enter a discussion with an Israel defender without them immediately accusing you of being a racist if they disagree with you. Oh, you're an anti-Semite.
The red line for me is, this is my country. My birthright is free speech. God gave me that right. You cannot take it away. And if you're telling me what I'm allowed to say in my country, you're my enemy. Like, it's just kind of that simple. You can't tell me what to say or think, period, because I'm an American.
Exactly. Try and have an argument. Even like a substantive civil argument, disagreement, criticize Israel just a little bit and count down the number of seconds before you get accused of being motivated by bigotry and hatred. It'll be, seconds. And that's their only tactic, their go-to tactic. The minute you question, like, why is the U.S. financing Israel's military in its wars when it not only hurts our own country, but when millions of Israelis are having better standard of living than millions of Americans? You're a Jew hater. You hate, you have some kind of problem with Jews. So it's the same tactic there.
Do they say that to you?
Constantly. Being Jewish is not in any way, does not give you any kind of immunity from that accusation. Like,
I'm an American. Every American has the right to say exactly what he thinks at all times, period. Period. Like, I thought that was the whole point of the country.
Okay, so let's respond to that. Let me know what you guys think about that. Before I do that, David is saying, oh my God, your desktop audio is 400% your microphone audio. Is that right? Is my audio, should I increase my audio or should I increase the audio, decrease the audio of the video? Which one do you guys prefer? Is that correct? Guys, if you see, I'm glad that David actually mentioned this, because why is nobody else saying that? Like, guys, if you ever see there's a difference between the audio, my audio and the video's audio, let me know in the chat so I could fix this. Oh, Amir saying, Armin, you sound good to me. Is the audio okay? Let me know because I want to make sure that everything is good. Like, I know the quality of my audio is good, but is there a difference between the audio? Audio is fine for me. Okay, D is also saying audio is fine. Okay, so I'm not going to change anything then. All right, so let's actually respond to this nonsense. This is what I call Jewish Samantha. It says agree about your audio. You agree with me or David? Okay. Let me I'll wait for your responses, but let me actually respond to this. Okay, so they're saying that if you criticize Israel, it takes a few seconds before you get shut down and get told that you're racist or anti-Semite. And then Tucker comes here at the end, says that, oh, this is free speech. You don't get to tell me what I get to say in my country. You're my enemy if you what do if you tell me what to say. So let's actually go through it line by line.
You cannot enter a discussion with an Israel defender without them immediately accusing you of being a racist if they disagree with you. Oh, you're an anti-Semite.
The red line for me is, this is my country. My birthright is free speech. God gave me that right. You cannot take it away.
Okay, so this is a straw man, right? Because they're making it sound as if first of all, people are racist, and we could show that a lot of the anti-Israeli criticism is motivated by racism or anti-Semitism against Jews. Here's how I know that. I criticize Israel from time to time. Many Israelis criticize Israel from time to time, and they're Zionists and they're well-meaning, and they criticize Israel because they want Israel to be better. Those criticisms do not get labeled as racist by most people. I mean, there are some people that you would just call racism, label everything they hear that they don't like as racism, and they do exist. But you are reducing the arguments in defense of Israel to those people, and you're not listening to the vast majority of the proper arguments in defense of Israel, and also why they're justified in referring to a lot of anti-Israeli people as, in effect, explicitly or implicitly, in effect, racist against Jews because of the double standard. So they're making it seem like when we say this is anti-Semitic, we just label it, we put an anti-Semitic stamp on it with no arguments, no way to back it up, and we just go. Like somebody like, hey, Israel is doing something wrong here. Anti-Semite, bye, no arguments, no evidence, nothing to show, just our hands are empty with responses. You're a racist, and I'm gone. This is a lie. They're lying, and they know that they're lying because they hear the defense of Israel, and they know the arguments that are there. When you come and criticize Israel based on standards that you do not apply to any other country, when you criticize IDF based on standards that you do not apply to any other army in the world, when we eliminate all factors, when we compare Israel's performance to other countries, and we notice the outrage against Israel in a way that we don't notice with any other country, when we eliminate all the things that are similar, and the only thing that is remained, the only thing that is left over is that they're Jews. Show me why. If it's not because they are Jews, tell me what else is there. Because we have been going over it for years. There's nothing else. We have exhausted all other possibilities. When it comes to the number of civilians being killed relative to militants, Israel does better than all other modern warfares. When it comes to the food shortages and the amount of calories that gets into a war zone, Israel has performed better than all other modern warfare. When it comes to taking measures to reduce civilian casualties, Israel has done more than all other modern warfare. When it comes to civilians dying, people dying, we don't see the outrage for Yemen. We don't see the same outrage for Sudan. We don't see the same outrage for Myanmar. We didn't see the same outrage for Syria. We don't see the same outrage anywhere. Why is that? Why is that? It's because they're Jews. So you're either implicitly, explicitly have a double standard for Jews, a standard that you have for no other country, for no other army. Do you know what you call a bias against Jewish people? You call that anti-Semitism. Do you know what you call a bias against an ethnic group? That's racism. Are you going to mention that? Are you going to mention the lines of arguments that I just gave you? Are you like, no, they have nothing. They just come racist. They just drop a racist bomb, and they poof. They disappear with no arguments, nothing. Is this not a misrepresentation of what we're saying? Is this not a cowardly act? What about your side? And like, oh, they should say anti-Semitism, 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 as if we have no arguments. You know who actually doesn't have, who has these labels that they just throw around without actually having a proper argument to back it up? You guys. You know the labels? Genocide, apartheid, occupier, genocide, 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 genocide. You act like we just say anti-Semite, racist with no arguments. I just gave you the argument. Come at me. Come at me. Tell me why I'm wrong. Tell me the difference. Show me the difference. Show me the difference. Why outrage against Israel, but not against all these other countries? Where's the same outrage against China when it comes to Muslims in China? Was the outrage even remotely close? Not even the Muslim world showed that same amount of outrage. Not even the Muslim world. It's so obvious. It's so obvious what's happening here. So you think like it's baseless that we call you guys racist? In effect, racist. I say implicit racism because some of these people are even Jews. They don't know that they're being biased against Jews because the anti-Jewish bias there is so foundational within society that you don't even notice that it's there. You're just building on top of it. You're just building your conclusions based upon this bias that exists. So now let's continue.
And if you're telling me what I'm allowed to say in my country, you're my enemy. Like, it's just kind of that simple.
What you're allowed to say? Shut the F up. Shut the F up. Who's stopping you? What a crybaby. What a little snowflake this right-leaning people are. I thought this, I didn't actually thought, but let's pretend that I thought it was just the woke. I thought it was like, these progressive leftists are such a little snowflake. Wow, they claim victimhood just because you're criticizing them. Look at it. You see, guys, you see this on the right as well. You cannot. Why are they trying to stop me? Who is stopping you? This is coming from the people with the largest platforms in the world. Not just in America, but in the world. You have the loudest voice out there. These people think that when you say something, if you respond to them, you're silencing them. Oh no! Why are you criticizing my positions? This is a violation of my free speech. These people's understanding of free speech is that I get to something and you shut up. You don't respond. Yet he's saying, poor guy, why are you silencing me? I have free speech in this country. So for them to have free speech, you should shut up. So you should not have free speech for them to be able to have free speech. That's their definition of free speech. What the hell? What the hell? Like, oh, you don't get to come here and tell me in this country what I get to say. Who is stopping you? We're just criticizing you. This is a response. Freedom of speech is not freedom from consequences of your speech. Freedom of speech is not freedom from people responding to your speech, you freaking moron. How are these people claiming that they're being censored while having the largest audiences in the world? I don't get that. This is basically Candace was saying the same thing. Listen to this.
Telling me what I'm allowed to say in my country, you're my enemy. Like, it's just kind of that simple. You can't tell me what to say or think, period, because I'm an American.
Exactly. Try and have an argument.
Oh, because I'm American. You cannot say, oh, so if I say 2 + 2 is 5. Nah, it's not. You don't get to tell me what to say. You don't get to tell me what to think. I'm an American. I'm an American. If I say 2 + 2 is 5, you are my enemy if you come here and correct me. Okay. You're in this country. If I say 2 + 2 is 5, you don't get to correct. Guys, again, if I come and say that, no, that's wrong, it's 4, I didn't stop you from thinking that it's 5. I didn't stop you from saying that it's 5. I just told you that you're wrong. I didn't stop you. I didn't control your speech. I didn't control your thought. I just corrected your insane take, you freaking moron. Unbelievable.
Even like a substantive civil argument, disagreement, criticize Israel just a little bit and count down the number of seconds before you get accused of being motivated by bigotry and hatred. It'll be, seconds. And that's their only tactic, their go-to tactic. The minute you...
That's the only tactic. Yeah. Come talk to me. Greenwald, come talk to me. I'm pro-Israeli. Come and describe what I'm saying. That's the only tactic. Is my only tactic, is our only tactic coming and say like, racist, bye, I have no arguments. How dishonest. You're lying. These people are not this dumb. You're lying. You're lying. You have talked to pro-Israeli. It's their only tactic. I mean, you're not only is that a straw man, you're also speaking in absolutes. So first of all, that makes you a Sith. But also that means that that's a black and white fallacy.
Question, like, why is the U.S. financing Israel's military in its wars when it not only hurts our own country, but when millions of Israelis are having better standard of living than millions of Americans? You're a Jew hater. You hate, you have some kind of problem with Jews. So it's the same tactic there.
Do they say that to you?
Constantly. Being Jewish is not in any way, does not give you any kind of immunity from that accusation. Like,
I'm an American.
Oh, really? So wait a minute. How come Greenwald, like, did people used to say, yeah, being black doesn't stop you from being racist against black people? That could happen. I mean, that is what, yeah, if you are Jewish and you're taking a position that is harmful to Jews, excuse me, I don't give a crap that you're a Jew. Why should that be a why should I accept that as a defense mechanism? Why should I allow you use that? They're like, hey, I'm a Jew, I have a Jew card. I get to be anti-Jewish. I get to be anti-Jewish without being criticized for being anti-Jewish. No. You could be Jewish and have horrible takes that is harmful to Jewish people. I'm going to call that out. You being a Jew, you think that's a defense? You think that's a good defense?
Every American.
Like, oh, people are coming after me as being anti-Jewish, even though I'm a Jew. Cry me a river. Oh, yeah, like, why? I'm a Jew. Why are you calling me anti-Jewish? Because your position is anti-Jewish.
American has the right to say exactly what he thinks at all times, period. Like, I thought that was the whole point of the country.
Wait, what? Say that again.
Does not give you any kind of immunity from that accusation. Like,
I'm an American. Every American has the right to say exactly what he thinks at all times.
We're stopping you. Guys, answer my question. Every American has a right. Every American has the right to say what they want, but they don't have the right to not be criticized. You don't have the right for people not hey, I demand that I get to say what I want, and I also demand as an American for nobody to come and tell me why I'm a freaking moron, why I'm an absolute idiot. Why are you saying that? Why are you saying as an American I have the right to say what I want? Yes, you do. Show me who's stopping you. Tucker, are you being arrested? Tell me, is somebody knocking at your door arresting you? Are you being fined? Are you being tortured by your government? Is there a threat of execution? Is the government threatening your family or something? Let us know. I mean, I will come on your side if that's happening. Do these people genuinely think that when they say something, if people come and react to it and criticize it, that means that their right to free speech has been violated? Is that genuinely what they think?
Period. Like, I thought that was the whole point of the country.
Oh, that's the whole point of the country. Yeah. Okay. Where's your rights are still there, you moron. Guys, again, please tell me if I'm missing anything here. Where is Tucker's free speech when it comes to criticizing Israel been violated? Have I missed something? Unbelievable. Oh, we got a super chat, guys. Sorry, Amir, if I miss a super chat, let me know because I need to read the super chat. So Angry Keyboard Warrior saying, Would Tucker agree that accusing people of being anti-white is violating their free speech? That's a very good point. Because angry keyboard warrior, I love you. Thank you. On point. On point. On point. The double standard here. The double standard here. And this is why it's correct to point out that this is anti-Semitic because of the double standard. Yeah, Carl is saying playing victim like an Islam follower. Yeah, exactly. This is the woke right. And also like the woke. Also like the progressives. This is the woke right. Guys, here. This is the woke right. Are you happy? Are you happy? Let's continue with the next video. I have so many of this. I could go all day. Let me see. Let me upload a few ones here. My hands are full with this nonsensical takes by these idiots. So let's listen to this one.
I like Palestinian people too that I've met.
I do too, and there are a lot of Christians. The one thing, let's be honest, since you're pushing me on this, that makes me a little bit emotional is there are a lot of Christians, and having traveled a lot, I can say just as a matter of personal preference, I really like them. I've never met a Christian Arab that I didn't like, actually. I think they're really amazing people. And a lot of them have been killed or mistreated with American money and weapons, and I think it's disgusting. And I think it's especially disgusting that Christian leaders in the United States have said nothing because they're bullied and bought off. And I think they should feel shame because they've dodged their duty, which is to speak up on behalf of their brothers in Christ. And they haven't. And there are Christians in Gaza who are killed. I'm opposed to that. And we should just say that. That's not controversial. It should not be controversial. By the way, that's the cradle of Christianity. Where's the Church of the Nativity?
Part of the Pope, that's what the Pope calls a Catholic church in Gaza every night. See how they're doing every night.
That's how I personally feel. And I think all Christians should feel that way. It's not attacking anybody. It's just a baseline demand of like dignity and respect. And they don't get it.
Okay, this is easy. Oh my God, guys, give me some challenges. These freaking more to make my job so easy. First of all, look at this.
I like Palestinian people too that I've met.
I do too, and there are a lot of Christians. The one thing,
there's a lot of Christians. There are a lot of Christians in Palestine. I like Palestine. There are a lot of Christians. Okay, do you know why this is so infuriating? Because they keep these conservative Christians. They accuse of Israelis being tribal and basically thinking of themselves and not other people. But look at, as soon as when it comes to defending the so-called Palestinian people, like, oh, there's a lot of Christians. And then he goes on to talk about how great the Christians in Palestine are, right? It's interesting because at least me and this channel, I lost some support for this, and I don't care because I'm just going to say what I think is the correct version, what is the right thing to say. But I, as a Zionist, me as a supporter of Israel, when it comes to caring about the so-called Palestinian people, again, I don't consider the Palestinian identity to be, I don't recognize the Palestinian identity, let's say the people of Gaza and the West Bank, right? I care about them regardless of them being a Christian or not a Christian. And I say this not only as a Zionist, not only as a supporter of Israel, but also an atheist that is aggressively anti-Islamic. And these people and the Muslims in the civilians in Gaza, the ones who haven't done, even the ones with their horrible views, even the ones with horrible views that haven't actually done taken action to harm Israelis, but even if they have horrible views, even if they have horrible views against me, I know a lot of people in Gaza that I care about, a lot of civilians that I care about. If I get executed for being an ex-Muslim, they would cheer that on, and I still want the best for them, even though that's their view. I still want the best for people. I want people to prosper. I want people to have peace. I want people's well-being to increase, even people who have horrible views, and people who have committed crimes and terrorist activities. The reason why I don't want the best for them is not because I have a sense that I want their suffering. I enjoy their suffering. It's just that they need to be neutralized or removed from society for the sake of the rest of society. It's not my inner desire to see people that I hate to suffer. Okay, it's just a cost benefit analysis, and yeah, you people, because you're harming society, you need to be separated from the rest of society for the sake of rest of society. Okay, it's not my desire to see suffering among certain people, right? And again, I'm saying this about people who would hate me with passion, who might even want to see me dead. I mean, not might, many of them would, right? But look at how tribal this guy is when it comes to Palestine. Like, oh, there's Christians there. So yeah, so when it comes to bigotry, this is a form of bigotry. You care about the Christians, like, oh, even if you want to care about people within a certain area, you know, I mean, I don't understand why people don't see that if you are into the well-being of an ethnic group more than other people, that's racism and disgusting. But as soon as the caring about Palestinians, all of a sudden, if I as a Christian, the Christians all of a sudden matter more to you. That is basically as disgusting as racism. But here's a more interesting point. I saw a super chat and I will respond to it. Here's a more interesting point. Let's say, actually, fine, you care about the Christians in Palestine, and you guys are talking about it. Where's your show about the Christians in Nigeria? Like, to this level of outrage? Because a lot of anti-Israeli Christians are talking, oh, the Christians in Palestine. What about the Christians in Nigeria? This atheist channel has highlighted the Christians in Africa who are constantly being attacked in the most vicious, disgusting way, in the most brutal way by Muslims in Africa. Crimes that is hard to even listen to. Crimes against Christians in Africa by Muslims in Africa that just listening to it makes you, if you have any sense of sympathy, just hard to sleep at night thinking about it. The crimes that they commit against Christians in Africa, on a not the brutality of it and the scale of it is astronomically higher than the situation that the Christians are facing in Gaza. Where is the outrage? Where is the condemnation on that? Where are the protests? Where are the demand for the U.S. government to basically pull out of there? Because I don't know if these people know, United States is very involved in Africa. Is it about the Christians in Gaza? Is it because at first I was talking about Muslims in Gaza, Christians in Gaza, but this is neither about Muslims and this is not about Christians. This is about Jews. But they try to pretend that this has anything. They're trying to get the Christian conservatives take a position against Israel because, like, oh, poor Christians in Gaza, look what's happening to them. But this has nothing to do with either Islam or Christianity. It has everything to do with Jews. Because if this was about Christianity, if this was about Christians, you would be consistent. You would be consistent, and you're not. You're not. This is about the Jews being involved. Again, no Jews, no news. And we got a super chat. Shauna, thank you so much, Shauna. Shauna saying Christians do speak up frequently. Christians know that Israel treats them well. Also, Spain ethnically cleansed all its Moorish Christians. So when is Christians ignoring Christians? When is Christians ignoring Christians new? Oh, so when is Christians ignoring Christians new? Yeah, I don't think, Sean, I don't think this has anything to do with Christians. I think this is just a way to blame the Jews. This is because the Christians in the United States, many of them have historically supported Israel. There needs to be a way to get the Christian conservative base in the United States to become anti-Israel. And the way to do that is to say, like, oh, there's Christians in Gaza, and they're being bombed in the same way that the Muslims in Gaza are being bombed. And Israel is doing this, and Israel bad because Christians in Gaza are being bombed. That's the game here. That's the play here. This whole Christian line is just an excuse. Right. And thank you, Shauna, for the super chat.
I like Palestinian people too that I've met.
I do too, and there are a lot of Christians. The one thing, I'll just be honest, since you're pushing me on this, that makes me a little bit emotional is there are a lot of Christians, and having traveled a lot, I can say just as a matter of personal preference, I really like them. I've never met a Christian Arab that I didn't like, actually. I think they're really amazing people. And a lot of them have been killed or mistreated with American money and weapons, and I think it's disgusting. And I think it's especially disgusting that Christian leaders in the United States have said nothing because they're bullied and bought off. And I think they should feel shame, and because they've dodged their duty, which is to speak up on behalf of their brothers in Christ. And they haven't. And there are Christians in Gaza who are killed. I'm opposed to that. And we should just say that. That's not controversial. It should not be controversial. By the way, that's the cradle of Christianity. Where's the Church of the Nativity?
Part of the Pope, that's what the Pope calls a Catholic church in Gaza every night.
I mean, Tucker, tell me about Jews in your so-called Palestine. What is your concern for that? Like the fact that no Jews. I mean, again, this is so insane. The Christians in Israel, if you're worried about Christians and you want to blame Israel for it, look at the situation of Christians in Gaza, and also if Israel and Christians in Christian in Israel. I mean, Israel is it's a secular country that all people with all religions and non-religions can live side by side in peace with no problem, regardless of whatever faith they have or they don't, right? Gaza, and that just shows you that if the Christians in Gaza are suffering, this has nothing to do with Israel's positions against Christians. This has everything to do with Hamas making Gaza a place that is unlivable, because they just use the blood and tears and the resources of Gaza to wage war against not just Israel, but the whole world.
See how they're doing every night.
That's how I personally feel. And I think all Christians should feel that way. It's not attacking anybody. It's just a baseline demand of like dignity and respect. And they don't get it.
Yeah. It constantly makes arguments to try to show Israel is evil. And like, this is not an attack on Israel. This is not what a coward. If you want to take a position against Israel, at least own up to it, you freaking coward. It's so amazing how these people are taken seriously. The worst takes are the ones that go the most viral. Guys, if you want to, again, I know this channel is not as big at all compared to these other giant sources of BS, but please like the stream so that our voice gets a little bit more amplified, right? If we ever get to 100,000 subscribers, you know, that's going to be a major difference. Like, we're going to be a lot more powerful relatively to where we are right now. So please recommend this channel. Please like this channel. Oh, also, by the way, guys, before I go to the next video, let me actually bring up the next video. I need to mention something else as well. So again, this line by Tucker, this is something that I see a lot of anti-Israeli people use as a way to attack Israel. So this is the way we need to learn about this. We need to know it, and we need to know how to respond to it. So I'm going to show you guys that. But before I do that, let me actually advertise our next show for today, which is going to be happening. Let me see. We're going to have a second show today because, guys, this channel, we don't do just politics. We also do Islam and Islamic history and the lies about the fact that Islam is a lie and the actual history of Islam. And the show that we're going to be doing in 17 minutes from now, after the show is over, we're going to have another show. And that one is about jinns and the real story. So guys, a lot of people think that jinns in Islam, they were basically the demon version of Islam. But I will show you that jinns were actually the gods of what came before Islam among Arabs. So jinns were gods that the positions were reduced to not demon, to something that a lot of people with a Christian background think like it looks like a demon, but it's not actually a demon. But they started with God. So the next show, which this is a member only show, so it's called Jinns Were Real Gods, What the Quran Doesn't Want You to Know. All right. So I'm going to have the link to that in the description. Again, our channel membership is increasing. I appreciate, and this is the way to appreciate our members, by making member only shows. So if you're not a member, consider becoming a member. And this is the show that we are going to be doing around 70 minutes from now, after this show, and it's going to be in the live section of our YouTube channel. Okay, so that's a treat for our members as a way to appreciate them. Okay, so let's watch this one. Let's watch this one and then respond to it.
You don't want to become a hater, but it's hard.
Oh, wait a minute. Before that, Ginga just got 5 memberships. So guys, if you want to see that show, 5 of you just got gifted a membership by Ginga or Ginga or Jinga, I don't know. But that's amazing. So great. Now you got 5 more people have access to that show that is about to come. Thank you. So now let's watch this and respond to it.
You don't want to become a hater, but it's hard when you hear stuff like,
if you take out Saddam, I guarantee you that it will have enormous positive reverberations on the region.
you could sum up the effect.
Wait.
of the Iraq-
The first line that Tucker said here was very important. So he says you don't want to be hateful, but if you hear something like, when you hear something like this, it's hard to not be hateful. So listen to this.
You don't want to become a hater, but it's hard when you hear stuff like,
If you take out Saddam, I guarantee you that it will have enormous positive reverberations on the region.
you could sum up the effect of the Iraq War on guys you knew.
So 3 Marines that I served with were killed in action. A half dozen were seriously wounded, including some that are double amputees. 20 have committed suicide or died as a result of service-related injuries.
20?
For people who serve in the infantry, that's very common. There were infantry units who suffered more Marines who've killed themselves than were actually killed in action.
You really try to navigate this topic without being filled with hate. You don't want to become a hater, but it's hard when you hear stuff like that and you think of,
I guarantee you.
not even an American screaming at people, calling them bigots for not wanting to engage in another regime change war. I mean, it's like, it's
a disgrace that he is allowed in good and proper company. I think the Iraq War was a monstrous crime.
Okay, so the Iraq War was a monstrous crime, and they are basically trying to show that Netanyahu was the person who encouraged it. Basically, Netanyahu said, if you take out Saddam, it will be good for everyone. It will lead to positive changes in the Middle East. And he said that he guarantees it. So what he meant by that was that if Saddam falls, it will scare the dictators around the region. It will make countries behave better. And it would also open the door for more peace and democracy, right? So this is a very, very powerful attack on Netanyahu, and something that a lot of people, even those people who say like, you know what, I support Israel, but let's be fair, that was a bad take by Netanyahu. Especially because I'm going to say something, guys, that is very unpopular, and I don't know if you guys are going to agree with that or not. The reason why this is very I'll let you know. The reason why this attack on Netanyahu is working so much is because there's almost close to a unanimous agreement now that the war against Saddam and his removal and the toppling of the Saddam regime in Iraq was a horrible idea. There's close to unanimous agreement on that. And it's easy to make that point because for decades, for a long time, Iraq was in absolute chaos. And the results were not good, okay? The reason why what I'm going to say is probably not going to be not going to be a popular argument, and I'm going to see what you guys are, what you guys think about what I'm going to say in the chat. A lot of you are probably going to disagree with me. I used to also think that the war in Iraq was a bad idea. I don't think that anymore. I don't think that anymore. In hindsight, it wasn't a bad idea. It was the right thing to do for the whole world, not just for America. It was good for Israel. It seemed like a horrible idea because how much the Islamic Republic managed to increase its influence around the region because of the removal of Saddam. But when it comes to the positive effects of something, you need to actually wait longer. I mean, if we go based on how much we waited to see if the removal of Saddam was a bad idea, then the French Revolution was a bad idea. The French Revolution, for decades after the French Revolution, we had nothing but bloodshed. We had basically a bloodbath. We had more people being beheaded than ever for a very long time with guillotines. And then the whole point, after all of that beheading and people dying, we had Napoleon. Basically, we didn't get to a republic. We got to another dictator, even a bigger dictator. So if you were going to judge the results of the French Revolution, you were like, yeah, this was not a good idea. And the whole liberal ideals that they had was basically idiotic. And it was just, la la land, rainbows and butterfly. And the world doesn't work like that. But then if you waited longer, you saw that, no, actually the results of the French Revolution was the liberation of the entire planet, not just France. Right. So let's look at the removal of Saddam and whether or not this was a bad idea. First of all, Saddam was a threat. He had attacked Israel and other U.S. interests. He attacked Israel with missiles in the 1990s. He had started many wars. He had major ambitions beyond its borders. Right. So by removing Saddam, you actually removed one of the greatest, one of the most dangerous enemies of not just Israel, but also the Persian Gulf countries around the Persian Gulf, the Arabs, these are all U.S. allies. These are all countries that. And this is at a time where the United States still the whole world relies on the energy that is coming out of this area. And all of the allies of the United States and the rest of the free world, even though they're not themselves, most of them were not part of the free world, but they were allies of the Western countries that completely relied on the stability in the region, were all under extreme threat by this maniac that wanted to attack all of them. Also, Netanyahu was not wrong when it came to the results of what happened. By the way, I'll let you know why many things went wrong when it comes to the Iraq War, because it wasn't Israel's fault. It was the United States' fault. So here's another thing that happened. Libya gave up its nuclear weapons after seeing what happened to Saddam. Gaddafi, or you guys call it Gaddafi? Gaddafi, you guys call it. It's Gaddafi, but you guys call it Gaddafi. Yeah, Gaddafi, Libya's leader, he got scared. He gave up his secret nuclear program. This was a major win for global security. Do people actually frame it the way I am? Do people realize that the removal of Saddam was what led to the denuclearization of Libya, which was a major threat to world security? Imagine when Gaddafi fell. So when Gaddafi fell, a lot of the weapons in Libya basically spread all over Africa and the rest of and the Middle East, mostly Africa. Imagine if the nuclear program was there and Gaddafi fell. Imagine what kind of world we would be living in right now. So that's a major threat to the world that was removed. It inspired the protest in Arab countries, which a lot of people think the Arab Spring has failed. But again, because they have a short time horizon, to see the effects of the Arab Spring, you actually have to wait longer. So much longer than a lot of people. People think that these things happen in a decade or two, the effects of these things. But things might take much longer than people think, right? So seeing that Iraqis vote in elections gave hope to people in countries like Lebanon. Just months after Iraq elections, Lebanon forced out Syrian troops who had been there for 30 years. It was basically the start of the first wave of the Arab protest before the Arab Spring. This is the whole spark of eventually what became the Arab Spring. This is also the removal of Saddam also helped bring Israel and Arab states closer together. When the Saddam regime was gone, Arab countries focused a lot more on the real remaining threat, which was the Islamic Republic in Iran. This basically helped the Abraham Accord. It pushed Arab countries to cooperate with Israel, leading to the peace deals like the Abraham Accord later. This would have not been possible if Saddam was still in power. Iraq right now, a lot of people focus on the chaos after the Saddam was removed to show that why this was a bad idea. But what about now? After all that chaos, look at Iraq now. I mean, is the situation in Iraq ideal? No. But Iraq is no longer a dictatorship. I mean, and the only thing that makes Iraq not a democracy right now is the Islamic Republic's influence in Iraq. But it's still a lot more democratic than it was before. It's not ruled by a brutal dictator. Things are better right now in Iraq. Again, if you looked a few years after the removal of Saddam and compared it to when Saddam was in power, it seems like we got a bad deal. But if you compare Iraq right now, compare it to when Saddam was in power, it seemed like it was actually a good idea. They have elections. They work with the United States right now. Iraq works with the United States and Arab countries in the region. And another progress is that Iraq is slowly moving away from the Islamic Republic and the influence of its proxies the influence of the regime in Iran. Its proxies in Iraq is being reduced year by year. And when it comes to the chaos, that's what caused the chaos in Iraq. Most of the chaos when Saddam was removed. What caused that? Most of the chaos was because United States made a huge mistake after they removed Saddam. They made every single person within the Ba'ath Party not be able to join the new government. What are we talking? The chaos that we're talking about includes the civil wars that initially started and then eventually the rise of ISIS. The United States completely disabled the Iraqi army and every single other person within the government. The entire infrastructure, all the institutions were completely dismantled. Everything was removed. There was nothing to build on, because even if you were somebody that didn't even know that you were in the Ba'ath Party, like if your cousin had just, without your knowledge, put your name in the Ba'ath Party just so that they could get some family benefits for you, as long as you had any associations with the Ba'ath Party, the doors were shut on you for being part of having any part in the new government. And that made everybody that knew how the government works, everybody that knew how the bureaucracy works, and everybody, the entire institutions that were there, the whole framework collapsed. And that caused chaos. That was entirely the US government's decision. It had nothing to do with Netanyahu, but Netanyahu gets the blame. Netanyahu supported removing Saddam, which was the right position to have. He wasn't in charge of how Iraq was managed after Saddam was removed. This is something that people don't tell you because it's very costly to say that the removal of Saddam was a good idea. It's very costly because there's almost unanimous agreement on the left and right that this was a bad idea. So if you say it was actually a good idea, I mean, I have to admit, I thought it was a bad idea. I changed my mind on this. So Netanyahu was right. Again, I don't agree with everything Netanyahu says. I have lost a lot of supporters on this channel for criticizing Netanyahu here and there. But on this point, Netanyahu was absolutely right. And we're now seeing that he was right. Guys, have you heard this framed like this to you anywhere else? Because if not, then we deserve a like this channel. But also, it's very important that you guys understand this, because this is an important framing of an anti-Israeli narrative right now. That Israel has taken the United States to wars. A lot of Americans are have very low appetite for wars because of Iraq and because of Afghanistan. And now, because of this clip that they have from Netanyahu, they want to make Americans anti-Netanyahu by showing them that he was the one that took us to this war, even though he didn't control the United States. There were many forces that eventually led to this. He was just mentioning his opinion. It's not like Netanyahu's controlling the United States, unlike what these people try to make you believe. Israel doesn't control, the Jews don't control American politics. It was just his opinion, but it was a right opinion, and it was a right opinion. And I didn't know this. I was like, when Netanyahu was saying this for many years, I was actually against this position of Netanyahu. But now, if you look at the situation in Iraq, and if you're an American, you're like, oh, okay, it was great for Iraq, then what does it got to do with me? Why do I have to care? Why do we Americans have to pay so much for making Iraqi lives better? Well, because if you think that as an American, you don't understand how international politics, and you don't understand how especially international trade works. Everything that you have in America is the standard of living that you have, the rights that you have, the freedom that you have, the stability you have, the peace that you have, has been reliant on the energy that comes out of that region. You wouldn't be able to have the life that you're having if your government, if your army did not go there and make sure that things are happening in accordance to U.S. interest around the Middle East. And the main ally that you have there, and many of you Americans are being so ungrateful for, is Israel. Everything that you drink, eat, consume in the United States is built upon an infrastructure that requires energy, that most of it came from the Middle East, especially at this time. And Israel was there as your allies to secure that for you against all your enemies. And that's what you got from supporting Israel. You actually got the better end of it. It's important that you understand this, because people don't know how to defend these positions. Okay, so Amir is telling me we got a super chat. Thank you, Amir, for reminding me. Gigi Ryder is saying, I know Israel isn't all one faction in alignment, but my understanding is Bush and neocons had to pressure Israel to support the Iraq war when Israel was concerned about Iran, not Iraq. Yeah, I mean, you answered your own question. There are Israelis that were concerned. Many Israelis had, when I was in Israel, it was so interesting, the diversity of opinions in Israel. I went to I went to West Bank. I went to the West Bank, and I also went to Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. And in Israel, when I talked to people, I got so many different opinions. But in the West Bank, I mean, we got different opinions, but when it comes to Israel, people mostly had the same opinion, right? So, and it's interesting because in the West Bank, and I talked to Muslims there. I talked to atheists there. I also talked to people who were anti-Islamic. Okay, so they had a diversity of opinions about religion, but when it came to Israel, most of them, I even saw some people there, few people there who were pro-Israeli. I mean, secretly pro-Israeli, but most of them, even the secular atheist ones, were anti-Israeli. But in Israel, the diversity of opinion was huge. So what Gigi, we're talking about here is not the position of Israel, as you mentioned yourself. This is what Netanyahu was saying. I mean, Netanyahu, this was his position. And again, a lot of people try to take I mean, here's the thing, guys. Even if they show something that Netanyahu says that is wrong and we disagree with, that's just Netanyahu being wrong about something. But these people try to sell it as an anti-Israeli narrative, even though that's just Netanyahu being Netanyahu. I'm just saying this narrative here doesn't work because Netanyahu, what he said here is right. But I'm sure you could show me a clip from Netanyahu saying something that I would say, oh, yeah, that's wrong. And we could defend Israel and say, yeah, Netanyahu was wrong there at the same time. But what these people are trying to do, what they're trying to do is like, hey, Netanyahu is wrong, therefore, if Israel. I mean, if that's your position, Tucker, then should we, I mean, you were against Biden. Should we be anti-America because of Biden when Biden was the president? Were you anti-American when Biden was president? Makes no sense. Let's go to the next video. And guys, again, thank you for the super chats. Let's go with this Greenwald talking to Tucker again. Let me actually see. This was let me upload 2 more videos. No. How much more time I have? Okay, I think I have some time. Let me upload 2 more videos. So I have 3 more videos left. I'm gonna try to respond to all of, almost all at least of what I have ready. Let's listen to this one. Again, guys, I need you guys to like the stream. So do it right now. Like the stream right now. I need more people to see what we're saying here. Yeah, Amir is saying, don't forget to like the stream. Thank you, Amir.
You cannot enter a discussion with an Israel.
Okay, the beginning part of this is similar to a clip that we showed, but the ending, like, it goes in a different direction. This edit goes in a different direction. So let's listen to this.
You cannot enter a discussion with an Israel defender without them immediately accusing you of being a racist if they disagree with you. Oh, you're an anti-Semite. Try and have an argument. Even like a substantive civil argument, disagreement, criticize Israel just a little bit and count down the number of seconds before you get accused of being motivated by bigotry and hatred. It'll be, seconds. And that's their only tactic, their go-to tactic. The minute you question, like, why is the U.S. financing Israel's military in its wars when it not only hurts our own country, but when millions of Israelis are having better standard of living than millions of Americans? You're a Jew hater. You hate, you have some kind of problem with Jews. So it's the same tactic there.
Do they say that to you?
Constantly. Being Jewish is not in any way, does not give you any kind of immunity from that accusation.
Yeah, so most of it we already respond to, but I just wanted to highlight this. Why are we supporting Israel? Again, Americans are getting a lot out of supporting Israel. Americans are getting a lot out of supporting Israel. Like, oh, they have better standard of living. First of all, on average, no, that's wrong. Second of all, I mean, who cares? The thing is, what we should care about is whether this support is mutually beneficial. And you talk about Israelis who have a good standard of living in Israel. You do not talk about Israelis who are dying, who are risking their lives, who are living under constant threat, facing your enemies of United States. Every time an Israeli soldier dies fighting America's enemies, not just Israel's enemies, but also America's enemies, that's an American soldier not dying in his place, in his or her place. These are Israel is standing in the way between America and her enemies, and they are paying the heaviest price for it. You talk about money, they're paying for it with blood. These are Americans not dying because Israelis are dying in their place for the sake of not just America, but the rest of the world. Because these people don't understand the nature of Hamas. They don't understand that this is a global intifada. Israel is just standing in the way. This is not just Hamas. This is the entire Islamic movement of Muslim Brotherhood and the Vilayat al-Faqih coming from Tehran at the same time, coming for the entire order that we have currently in the world. That is their entire... Israel is just this inconvenient barrier in their way. And it's so interesting how all of these Islamic countries, with all the proxies of the Islamic Republic in Qatar, and all their money and all their oil and all their gas and all their Islamism and all the numbers that they have, this tiny little country right in the middle of them has managed to stand in all their way and their ambition to take over the entire world. And instead of being impressed by it, instead of thanking them, and instead of supporting them even more for standing between all of that in ambition for an Islamic empire and destroying the entirety of the world, this tiny little country is standing in their way and defeating every single one of them. It's truly a David and Goliath situation that we're having here. Instead of appreciating that, you actually condemn them. It's the most unfair thing ever. Every American, not only should be thankful to Israel for doing most of the heavy lifting, for this burden upon its shoulders, you should be attacking. Every American should be attacking their government for why are we missing in the scene? Why are we letting Israelis do most of this work? Why are we not there with them? I just wanted to use this video as an excuse to mention that. Let me go to the next video because I need to get ready for the next show, the member-only show. Again, guys, consider becoming a member today because not only you get access to more shows that are member-only, it's also a very, very the best way to support this channel is by becoming a member. So consider becoming a member to get access to our member-only shows. Which again, when does our member-only show start? It starts in 40 minutes. And again, the name is Gens Were Real Gods. Again, by real, I mean in accordance to them. You know, the Arabs back then considered Gens to be gods. They weren't demons, they were actually gods. And again, we will use Quranic references to show the evolution of Gens, which is actually quite interesting. Okay, so that's the show that's starting in 40 minutes. So if you're a member, don't miss that show. All right, so let's go to the next video here. Oh, this is an attack on Ben Shapiro. Oh, I really want to respond to this. Oh, Govan just gifted somebody a membership. Oh, Pineapple Water just got gifted a membership. So Pineapple Water, you could watch the upcoming member-only show. Thank you so much, Govan, for gifting somebody a membership. Appreciate that. Yeah, and Amir is thanking you as well. All right, fantastic. So let's watch this one. Again, I'm not going to say anything. Let's listen to it. And Unicorn is thanking you as well. All right, so yeah. So let's listen to this without pausing, and then I'll respond to it.
Ben Shapiro or these shills come out and attack you personally because
he was bashing you just this week.
To attack me as a shill for another country when you yourself are shilling for another country. It's almost too much for my tiny brain to deal with, actually. These are people who are acting on behalf of a foreign government. I'm just looking at it from an American perspective. I don't want my country to be further weakened, my fellow citizens to die yet again, my federal treasury to be drained yet again on behalf of an idea that's clearly stupid.
Zionism, the idea of building state of Jewish farmers on Arab land in the Middle East, is a stupid idea to begin with.
On behalf of an idea that's clearly stupid.
All right, so I think, yeah, the only thing Tucker said here that it was correct is that he is a tiny little brain. He has a tiny little brain. He's not very smart. He's correct about that, right? That's the only thing he's correct about. So this is what he either doesn't understand or he's too much of or he's lying. I don't know. But the point is not that you are, so shilling is the term that you use when you're trying to show basically supporting or acting in the interests of another country, right? That is not inherently a bad thing, Tucker, because he thinks like, oh, there's the double standard here. You guys accuse me, for example, on speaking and acting in the interest of another country like Qatar. Ben Shapiro, well, you are basically supporting Israel. how is it okay for you to speak and act and advocate in the interest of Israel, but it's wrong for me to do that with Qatar? You are a hypocrite, because if I am doing this for another country, you are also doing this for another country. Well, Tucker, you goddamn moron. The issue is not the problem of supporting another country. That by itself is not a problem. The problem is the country that you have chosen, like Russia and Qatar. These are not governments. These are not governments that their ideologies and their principles and their values are in line with liberal democracies. You freaking moron! What you're advocating for, what you're supporting, is a state that sponsors terrorism. You are advocating and you're promoting the Qatari government, who everyone knows who has been documented to fund Hamas. You could go and support any other country. Other countries is not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, if you are an American with Scottish background, or like, hey, I'm pro Scotland, or like, I don't know, if you're a like Iranian American and you support Iran, not the regime in Iran, but the Iranian people, the Iranian nation. If you're a Canadian American and you support Canada, if you're a Mexican American and you support Mexico, or if you're not even a citizen of that, you just have ancestry there and you come from there and you have ties to there. Even if you don't, let's say you're just a teenage girl in America that's just obsessed with K-pop and just loves the culture of Korea. You have no ancestry, you have no connection with Korea, and you're just obsessed with the Korean boys, and you just love everything Korean. You're like, you're shilling for Korea. You're dual you're dual loyalty. That's horrible. I mean, that's the same, isn't it? That's the same. Isn't that the same? Tucker is supporting Qatar. This teenage girl is supporting South Korea. It's the same. There's no difference there. I don't see. If you if you like Japan so much as an American, you're traitor. The issue is not that he's supporting another country. This issue is that the country that you have picked to support, the government, not the country, the governments that you have picked to support are horrible, dictatorial, terrorist supporting, anti-liberal governments. You freaking moron. Do you not understand? Do you not understand the false analogy? I guys, I need you to understand this. This is very important, because the issue of the dual loyalty accusations against Jews, the reason why that's an issue is not because dual loyalty is a problem. All right? Dual loyalty is not a problem. You could support America and another country at the same time. But there's two things you have to remember. That other country, if you're supporting the government and that government is terrorist. So, for example, an Iranian American, is completely fine for you to be loyal to America and loyal to Iran at the same time, as long as that you're not supportive of the Iranian government. You're just supportive of the Iranian nation, the Iranian people. If an Iranian American is supporting the Iranian regime, yeah, that's a huge issue. You're supporting the Qatari government, that's an issue. So dual loyalty means that you're loyal to your country, to your American citizen. As a citizen of America, you're loyal to America as well. That's good. That's fine. I mean, I don't see the issue of dual loyalty accusations of Jews is the double standard and the condemnations of Jews in America for having dual loyalty. Because people don't go and find Irish Americans who are also loyal to Ireland and they are proud of their Irish ancestry. They don't go there like, dual loyalty. They don't go. There's no condemnation of that. There's no accusations of mistrust with Irish Americans for being for having dual loyalty. People even celebrate Irish Americans who want to celebrate their Irish ancestry and Ireland and everything. Not only we do not condemn that in America, people don't condemn that in America, they celebrate. They're like, oh yeah, go be proud of your ancestry and your culture. In fact, that's amazing. That's what makes America great, because you're bringing in all of this richness of all these other cultures to the United States, and that's what makes the United States richer. The problem of dual loyalty accusations against Jewish Americans is not that dual loyalty is inherently bad, is the history of that accusation and what it has meant. I mean, the Nazis used the dual loyalty accusation to basically increase hatred of Jews, for example, in Germany, and other countries did that as well. I think they did that in the Soviet Union, Russia as well before. Yeah, I think they did that there. No, I have to go double check, right? But the history of that's why people are sensitive when it comes to the accusation of dual loyalty to Jews. Not because it's inherently a bad thing. It's completely fine for you to be a supporter of America and Israel at the same time, Germany and the USA at the same time, Iranian people and America at the same time, Canada and America, Mexico and America at the same time. That's completely fine. That's completely fine. But you have picked the wrong government. You have picked the wrong countries. You have picked the worst of the worst. You went to support Qatari government. Again, maybe Qatari people supporting the Qatari people, that's fine. You support the Qatari government that has funded terrorism, and you have supported the Russian government, which is the closest thing to the second closest thing actually to an imperial agenda that we have. I mean, you as an American culture is founded on anti-imperialism. This is why I don't accept people saying America being an empire. America is anything but an empire. America, the entire existence of America is founded upon anti-imperialism, and you have that. You inherit that culture from America, from America as an American, and then you go and support the very two countries that stand against those values and those ideals, because the two most anti-nationhood, anti-nationalism, pro-imperialism views that we have right now in the world. One comes from Islamism, which you're supporting by supporting Qatar, and the other one comes from Putin. Oh, Ivan with the super chat. Thank you so much. Ivan is saying, stop hating on Qatar, son. Stop hating on Qatar, son, who doesn't give an F about Trump getting $400 million jet. Imagine if it was AIPAC gifting it. Wow. Yes, Ivan, you're right. Imagine if it was Israel gift. You're right. That's a very good point. These people would be screaming off their rooftops. That's a very good point. I like that. And Shauna is with another super chat. Thank you, guys. You guys are very generous. Shauna is saying the dual loyalty argument is BS. We all care about our ethnic kin. Look at how mad Anglo-Americans are. The grooming gangs is human. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a BS because it's fine to have dual. Yeah, again, this is the double standard. Again, Irish Americans care about Ireland and their Irish ancestry. Iranian Americans do that. German Americans do that. Mexican Americans, Canadian Americans, Japanese Americans, Chinese Americans, Korean Americans. Everybody has that feeling. Every community of people have that connection, that tie, that sense of loyalty to their country of origin. Not every single individual. I'm saying it exists in every one of these communities. That exists, and none of them get the blame. None of them get the blame for having that sense, except Jewish Americans. It's complete nonsense. Oh, by the way, I have to remember to thank the most active people in the chat so far. So number one most active person in the chat is anti-Islam. Anti-Islam, you're always active in the chat. Thank you so much. Number 2, also Jewish Samantha. And number 3, YABS. Thank you guys for being so active in the chat. I appreciate you guys for always being here and keeping the chat active. You guys are amazing. And also one more reminder that in 27 minutes, we have a member-only show that is about gens and the real history of gens. not the Islamic version of it, but actually the true story of jinns, which is quite fascinating. So if you remember, don't miss that. And also, just if you're a member, that's the best way to support this channel. So thank you to all our members. Let's just do one more video, then I have to go get ready for that show. Let's watch this one. Guys, I'm working hard today. I mean, I work hard every day, to be honest. Like the stream if you appreciate that. So let's watch this one. Guys, do you guys know how long it takes to go and get these videos and remove the background music and everything? Okay, well, let's watch this.
In the specific case of Israel, I hate the fact that civilians are killed with American weapons. I hate it. I hate it in Gaza. I hate it in the occupied territories,
As do I.
whatever we're calling them these days. You don't ever want to wind up in a place where you're defending the killing of children. You just don't. If you're intentionally killing civilians, you probably shouldn't beat your chest and brag about it. You should weep, and that's evil, and you should just say it's evil. And I know it's like really threatening to
Is it evil?
Ben Shapiro to say that or whatever, but
Is it evil?
to kill civilians on purpose, yeah, it is. When you intentionally kill women and children, when you wage war through fear by murdering the civilian population, I don't think that's a good thing. And I don't think you should be defending it, and I don't know why it's such a threat to say that out loud.
You know what's evil? What's evil is to misrepresent who are the murderers of these civilians are. Let's go through this line by line. This is these people are liars, are absolute liars. I don't know if they don't know what's happening. Let's go through this line by line. Intentionally, exactly, intentionally, guys. Let me actually get through that part because I want to respond to this line by line. Hold
in
on.
the specific case of Israel, I hate the fact that civilians are killed with American weapons.
Yeah, I hate that too. But Holy Mother of all virtue signals, where's the same outrage and hate when it comes to other civilians being killed? I mean, we have been consistent on this channel with regards to that. But why is it that you care about civilians dying in Gaza, but not? Where are all these shows about civilians dying with American weapons, I might add, in other places? But here's the thing. Just because they're dying with American weapons, that doesn't mean that the people who are using those American weapons are the ones that are responsible for their killings. And that also doesn't mean that the Americans are to blame for providing those weapons. Because let me tell you something that other people might not tell you. First of all, America is doing a very good job selling those weapons to Israel. In fact, they should sell more of them. Second of all, if America did not sell its most advanced weapons to Israel, more civilians would die in Gaza. More civilians would die. Because this is what people don't understand. Many people don't understand. The more equipped Israel is and the more advanced its weaponry are, the less people die in Gaza. Because Israel is trying to do its best to reduce civilian casualties in Gaza while defending itself. So the more advanced its weaponry is, the more it will be able to do that. The more advanced Hamas's weaponry is, the more civilians die because Hamas intentionally tries to kill civilians. And the more advanced Israel's weaponry is, the less civilians die because Israel tries to reduce civilian casualties. So the so-called Palestinians should be on their knees thanking the United States for selling weapons. I say this. Let me actually make sure that everybody gets this. Okay, you got this? Every single person in Gaza should be thanking United States daily for giving weapons, their advanced weaponry to Israel. Because the bombs that are dropping in Gaza would have been a lot less accurate if they did not do so. And much, much more civilians would have died if Israel was forced to use different kinds of weapons. Okay, let's continue.
I hate it. I hate it in Gaza. I hate it in the occupied territories,
As do I.
whatever we're calling them.
As do I. I hate civilians dying. Wow, amazing people. You lie. You lie. This is not about your concern. Both of you lie. This is not about your concern about people in Gaza. How many shows you have about people dying in Sudan, in Myanmar, in Syria, in Nigeria, in all of Africa? Where is your concern for that? This is not about your care for people dying in Gaza. This is everything to do with condemning Jews. Let's continue.
These days.
Yeah, exactly. We do not like bad things. We like good things. Yeah, but if you didn't want civilians to die, then you would be supporting Israel. The sooner Israel gets to remove the Hamas threat from Gaza, the sooner Gaza could move on to being a free, prosperous place. In fact, the best thing for Gaza is for Israel to take over that entire region. If you genuinely care for Gaza, then by condemning Israel, you are actually increasing their suffering. You're prolonging. You people, when you go out and spread your poison against Israel and reduce Israel's soft power and make it more difficult for Israel to get support for finishing the job, you're prolonging the Palestinian cause, and therefore you're prolonging the suffering of people in Gaza. That's what you're doing. You have blood on your hands. You act like you care about the people in Gaza. You are the cause of their suffering.
You don't ever want to wind up in a place where you're defending the killing of children. You just don't.
But you are. You are defending right now the killing of children by standing up against Israel. You are making the Hamas position stronger when you condemn Israel. You act like if you support Israel, you are supporting the killing of children. No, by standing up against Israel, you're making Israel. We have proven beyond reasonable doubt on this channel that Israel is not targeting civilians. Israel is not trying to increase civilian casualty in Gaza. But not only Hamas is trying to increase civilian casualties in Israel. Hamas, by their own admission, have tried to increase civilian casualty in Gaza. So you're on the side of the people who are trying to increase civilian casualties of their own people. So you are, Tucker, you are supporting the killing of civilians.
If you're intentionally killing civilians,
how you lie? You're lying. Guys, I don't understand which one is worse. I don't know which one is worse. Is he that stupid or is he lying? Does he genuinely believe that Israeli fighter jets, Israeli army, the IDF gets up tomorrow? And this is what this plan is. They're looking at their plans. They're looking at their documents. They're looking at their screens. And they're like, okay, yesterday we got this many children. We need to increase those numbers. Yesterday we got 200 kids. Yesterday we got 200 kids in Gaza. That was not enough. We're not meeting our quota. Netanyahu has said we had to have at least get 300 kids a day. There's so many kids in Gaza. How is it that we can kill only 200 of them every day? What is it? How is that? Do you really think that's what they're doing? I mean, the IDF is the most pathetic, weakest army in the world if they're actually trying to kill civilians, and this is the only amount that they're getting in. Do you know how easy it is for IDF to massively increase the numbers of civilian casualties in Gaza? If that was their intentions, these numbers are rookie numbers. These numbers are pathetically low. If that's their intention, if IDF is genuinely trying to kill civilians, and this is how many they managed to get, this is the most pathetic, weak army in the world. With the weaponry that they have, this should have been a lot easier. Everything that we look at, all the data that we look at shows that Israel has gone above and beyond any army in history to try to reduce civilian casualties. Any army in history. How are you getting this? You lying. You're lying. You cannot be that stupid. Even though you're stupid, you cannot be that stupid to actually think that Israel is intentionally trying to kill civilians. Do you genuinely think, like, do these anti-Zionists think genuinely Israel is that evil? This is cartoonishly evil. For them to Israel, like, hey, like, let's just go kill civilians. Let's just go kill these civilians. That's what the intention of Israel is. Here's what I won't deny. Are there bad soldiers that want to kill civilians? Yes. Every army has that. Every country has its fair share of some bad people. There is no systematic up-down command stated policy or official policy or effective, neither stated policy, neither official policy or effective policy of Israel trying to increase civilian casualties. We see that with the results. Israel has managed. Tell me if they're intentionally trying to kill civilians, how is it possible that with that intention, Israel has managed to get the lowest civilian to combatant ratio in every modern warfare ever recorded? In a place with the second highest population density in the world, fighting an enemy that doesn't wear a uniform and uses human shields, they still manage to get a lower ratio of civilian to combatant ratio than the United States, your country, Tucker, than America. You had a higher ratio of civilian to combatant ratio when you're fighting ISIS in an open area, in a much less crowded area. This is almost a miracle. I'm going to become a believer. I'm believing God, and I believe in a God that is on the side of Jews, because this is almost a miracle. What the fuck? This is an impossible thing. This looks like an impossible thing to achieve. And instead of congratulating Israel's army for being the most moral, I mean, look at the steps that they take. Look at all the steps that they take to try to reduce civilian casualties. It's insane. Israeli soldiers have risked their lives going into places where Hamas blocked their civilians to try to keep them under bombardment. Israeli soldiers have risked their lives to try to go remove those Hamas blockades so Gazan civilians could actually move to safer areas. This is so stupid. This is upside down world.
You probably shouldn't beat your chest and brag about it. You should weep, and that's evil, and you should just say it's evil. And I know
you're evil. Yes, you are evil. This is evil.
It's like really threatening to...
Is it evil?
Ben Shapiro to say that or whatever. But
is it evil?
To kill civilians on purpose? Yeah, it is. When you intentionally...
On purpose, to kill civilians on purpose. Where are you getting this from? Show me the on purpose part.
Kill women and children. When you wage war through fear by murdering the civilian population, I don't think that's a good thing. And I don't think you should be defending it. And I don't know why it's such a threat to say that out loud.
Yeah, it's a threat to spread such nonsense out loud. These spreading these lies out, Anyways, let me actually respond to 4 of the comments that Amir has starred. Thank you, Amir, for starring the comments. Katie saying, using Tucker's logic, then there has never been a nation state ever. Exactly. That was about the beginning of the show. Astro Futurist is saying, Tucker never mentions real Christians' persecutions. Yep, again, because it's not about Christians. It's about blaming the Jews. Exactly. Sam is saying 2% of Palestinians, so-called Palestinians, are Christian. 40% of Nigerians are Christian. Perfect point. Exactly. Again, they go after that 2%, defending that 2% before they go after the 40% in Nigeria, even though they're being much more brutally attacked. And Monologic is saying, keep focusing on Israel. Don't see what Muslims are doing to Christians in Nigeria, Syria, Egypt, Pakistan, etc. Exactly. Perfect points. Guys, I need to go get ready for the next show. Again, that starts in 13 minutes. Oh, actually, more than maybe 15 minutes. Let me see. 15 minutes. Okay. So I'm going to go get ready for that show. It's a member-only show. It's about gens, the actual real history of the gens. And I find that very interesting. And I hope you guys do too. So I'm going to go get ready for that. Make sure you subscribe if you're new here. Like the stream, like this show. It's very important. Leave a comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification, and please consider recommending this channel to people. Just hit the share button. Hit the share button on this live stream, because I think We're doing valuable work here, and more people need to see it. Thank you all. Thank you, Amir. Amir saying, long live Atheist Republic. Thank you, Amir. I appreciate that. Okay. I'm Israel Kai. All right, guys. Bye.